If you're a dad, tell me this story doesn't play out in your head on a regular basis. Nobody understands how much I am pushing to drive this family's engine forward. I'm unseen. I'm unappreciated.
All right, brothers, welcome to today's episode of the podcast. We're honored to have you back here with us. If you're tuning into today's episode, that means you must have heard the new podcast intro. That means you must now be aware that today is a special day, an important day for what was the Purpose community and is now the Recovered Dad community. Exciting episode today. I'm your host, Matt Sinkovitz, my co-host, Yeadon Smith. Yeadon, welcome.
Hell yeah, bro. Exciting day today.
Yes, sir. Honored to have you with us. So, brothers, welcome to the new evolution, the new iteration of what has been the Porn to Purpose community. A story in the making for over six years now, since 2019. If you've been tuning in to maybe some of our social channels, or if you're on our email list, we have been talking a little bit about this evolution over the past month or so. And what we'd love to do today is bring you brothers who are maybe not familiar with the conversation and some context for this change into the conversation, bring you up to speed with the new iteration of what we're doing here as a community, the Recovered Dad community, the Recovered Dad podcast, and bring you up to speed with the newest evolutions here in the community.
Yeah, don't worry. You didn't accidentally tune into the wrong podcast. Still the same amazing hosts, if
Yes.
I do say so myself.
Yes.
Talking about every man's favorite topic.
That's it. That's it.
But expanding our framework for why we talk about and other ramifications of recovery in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Think of it maybe as a facelift. Think of it as an upgrade. Yeadon uses the word expansion.
It's a glow up, right? It's a glow up, right?
A glow up. I would even call it a refinement. I think it's a refinement of the message that we've been at here, of focusing maybe of the message. I think we're distilling the message. We're getting even more clear around what it is that we're doing here as a community and who we're here to serve. So we're excited to dig into the conversation here today. Just to give you a little backstory around this new chapter, this evolution of the Purpose podcast now becoming the Recovered Dad podcast. A little history. Yeadon and I. So as many of you may know that have been tuning into the show, you know, Yeadon, our esteemed brother here, co-host, my colleague, partner in this community, is proof of the product. He's the proof in the pudding.
I'm not just a coach, I'm a client.
He's also a client.
Was that the men's hair club, right?
That's it. Yeadon, how long ago did you come to the community?
It was right at about 3 years ago when I heard you do a guest session in the Dad Edge community that I'm a part of, talking about how to talk to your kids about.
Yeah.
I couldn't listen to it live because of my schedule, but I tuned into the recording.
Yeah.
And that was 3 years ago, right around this time of year, near the end of the year. And then we connected. I got started with the Liberation Boot Camp in January. And then, also, we're refining the Liberation Boot Camp. We're doing some updates to the boot camp, by the way, for y'all out there listening. Exciting stuff. But I started with the boot camp, and I joined the program. I enrolled in the boot camp really because of my children. Yeah. Well, I have 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl, 18, 15, 13, and 10.
Yep.
And they're growing up with in their pocket 24/7. The entire anthology of history accessible. They will have access to it their entire life.
Yeah.
Unlike how I grew up, right? So smartphones weren't really a thing till I was like 30.
Yep.
But I joined the Liberation Boot Camp to figure out how can I help my kids avoid the, cesspool of consumption, addiction. And I ended up finding my own recovery, finding sobriety, learning building these skills, building these tools in my life for solid recovery. Now I'm 3 years in recovery with how I like to describe it is 99.7% uptime.
Yep.
There've been a couple missteps, getting off track over the past 3 years, but getting back on the path, actively engaged with my recovery.
Yep.
And so then finished the boot camp. Matt and I ended up partnering after a year. So I was like, how can it changed my life.
Yeah.
Changed my life. And I got really excited working with Matt. We revamped the curriculum, put it into the online platform it is today. So it was easier for men to go through. We built out a community online, consolidated some things, streamlined things. We've been working on, the podcast, everything, which leads us to the present.
Yep.
Where what was it? It was a couple months ago where we were hanging out down here in South Carolina. We were having a brainstorming session at the coffee shop.
Yep.
And what came out of that brainstorm session?
Yeah. So we, Yeadon and I have the intention as business partners. Yeadon's in South Carolina. I'm in Pennsylvania. So we interact mostly virtually, and it's important for us to see each other in person from time to time and, create that in-person connection. And we were sitting down I was down in South Carolina, I think it was October. And we were sitting down at a coffee shop one Saturday afternoon, just there for a brainstorming session, a jam session. And the conversation came up, if we were to reimagine what we're doing here as a community, what might that look like? Just kind of bring in curiosity and wonder and creativity to the conversation. Yeadon had been doing some work himself with his own Instagram channel called The Recovered Dad, right? And we got into the conversation. I'll let Yeadon speak to this as well, but who's our avatar? Who's our avatar? And this is kind of where I was going with this. Who's our avatar? And what I've always been clear on, and it's what really inspired me to invite, Yeadon into this and ask him to partner with me on this. Yeadon's the avatar. Yeadon says, 3 years, 99.7% uptime, a few missteps. I'm doing this work.
34 years stuck in addiction, right?
Doing this work 6 years now. I haven't seen a man that's come through and shown up in this work and in his recovery in such an impeccable way as Yeadon. Yeadon's the full picture of the kind of men that seem to do the best in our community. The men who have the most at stake, the most to lose, fathers, a man who's also a husband, has a lot on the line, and oftentimes entrepreneurial men. Doesn't have to be. We have a lot of men who are not entrepreneurs, but high performance entrepreneurs, men who seem to be able to conquer everything, but have this Achilles heel of this kind of secret, this aspect of their lives that seems to be like this anchor that drags everything else down. So to me, Yeadon's always been the avatar, and to me, the poster child for what it is that we're doing here as a community. So we had the conversation. Who's our avatar? Yeadon's the avatar, right? Or Yeadon's profile is the avatar. So how do we focus this conversation to speak more directly to the Yeadons of the world, to the avatars, to the fathers of the world, to the men who have the most on the line? How do we speak more specifically to them and open it up to the men who have the most to lose and who are most in need of this work?
Those are very kind words, Matt. And for all y'all out there listening, please lower the pedestal a lot. My balance is not that great, and it hurts when I fall off of pedestals that are that high, right? I need a pedestal that's like this far off the ground, just like 3 or 4 inches. Then I can survive. And you know, when we're talking about Avatar, I don't want you out there listening like, oh man, am I being targeted? Like, no, we're not targeting anybody. But let's be real.
Right.
Let's, you know, you're going to get the unvarnished, raw reality, truth of life here on the podcast, right? Who has the most at stake when you think about it?
Mm-hmm.
I joined the Liberation Boot Camp because I have 3 boys and a girl. And at that point, my oldest was 15. And we have a pretty, I mean, honestly, the tech framework we use with our kids' phones, with Android, it's bulletproof. I've tried. I have tested it with all of my knowing how to get around everything. Is like, okay, I'm confident that my son is not circumventing this at 1 a.m. on from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., right? I know that's not happening. But the only tools that I had at the time were the same tools that were given to me when I was growing up. Stay away from accompanied by a healthy dose of guilt, fear, and shame.
It's hell in a handbasket. It's hell in a hand.
Guilt, fear, shame, and avoid.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the tools. And I knew they didn't work. I had 34 years of experience telling me those tools don't work. And yet the only thing I was hoping for is like, maybe my kids will grow enough. Maybe they'll be mature enough. Maybe their brains will be developed enough so that by the time they encounter, it won't latch onto them like it did for me.
Yep.
And I knew it wasn't going to work, right?
Yep.
But it was the only thing I had. And now I have all kind of tools.
Yep.
Because if you've been listening to podcasts for any length of time, you're very familiar with what we say regularly. It's not a problem.
Right.
It's a pain problem.
Mm-hmm.
And is the pill that you take to manage the pain. Absolutely. And let me tell y'all out there, if you're a dad, tell me this story doesn't play out in your head on a regular basis. Nobody understands how much I am pushing to drive this family's engine forward. Nobody cares, right? I'm unseen. I'm unappreciated. I'm unwanted. I'm taken for granted, right? Just today, right? Now, this is first world problems, but I'm going to be real with y'all. So we have, with 4 kids, my wife and me, we have a crew that comes periodically to clean our house, right? Vacuum, dust, empty trash bins, stuff like that. But guess what you have to do before that happens? You have to clean your house.
You got to wash the dishes. You got to wash the dishes before you put them in the dishwasher.
Exactly, right? You got to pick up all the stuff off the floor, put things away. They can't vacuum carpet that's covered with clothes. And yet, and this happens, every cycle when the crew comes over. My wife just texted, hey, everybody, cleaning crew comes tomorrow. Remember to do this. And I'm looking at, after we record this podcast, I got to go ride herd on my 4 kids to make sure they get their room. Y'all, they don't have to vacuum their own floor. And they bitch and complain about picking up their clothes. My daughter, who's 10, I don't know how she does it, but her room goes from picked up to clothes covering every square inch of carpet in her room in a day. In a day. I'm like, old me would have been like, you ungrateful little, you don't appreciate everything that I'm doing for your life to be the way it is. If you're a dad, tell me I'm wrong. Please, comment oh, this guy's full of nonsense, full of crap. But for fathers, that is such a reoccurring story in our head, which if is your pain pill, drives us to manage that pain because we don't know how to cope with life without it. So the recovery habits, the recovery tools that I've learned and the skills that I've built over the past 3 years, I'm able to apply them to every area of my life. Me being a dad has improved. Me being a husband has improved. Me running my business, running the real estate stuff that I do, that my relationship with my business partner, with my team, it has all leveled up. Not because I'm not into anymore, but because I know how to manage the pain with strength and solidarity, with peace and power, instead of just like, I'm freaking out, I'm frazzled, I got to go get my pain pill.
Yep.
So if you're a dad out there, we're talking about that dad life. And what does it mean to recover? Whether you're recovering from however every dad has to recover from something. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that you got all the tools you needed to be a dad before you became one. No, I didn't. Nobody does. We learn on the job and we make mistakes, and it's filled with pain. And there's how we were programmed growing up that we have to recover from. There's all these old habits that we have to recover from. And the recovery process of recovering from addiction, the same skills apply to being overall a recovered dad. So we've expanded it. We've niched down. We're talking to dads. Now, if you're not a dad, you're still welcome.
Yeah,
you're still welcome here.
Yeah.
Right? These tools will work.
Yep.
But if you are a dad, bro, there is too much at stake for fathers not to work on themselves. You don't want to get to the end of your life and have a full bank account and an empty house.
Yep.
So that's why we've made the shift, expanding what we talk about while at the same time niching down in who we are talking to.
Yep. Speaking to the Yeadons of the world, and as Yeadon mentioned, if you're not a father yet, maybe you desire to be a father. This stuff still works. All the tools and the ideas here are still going to be relevant. But yeah, focusing down, and that's the evolution, guys. That's the evolution. Yeah. Same great new look, same great taste. New look, same great taste. Speaking to the fathers of the world, and we're excited about this. We're excited about this shift. Yeadon, what else, brother? Anything further on this piece? You're going to be hearing a lot more about the recovered dad community and our journey as we continue to roll this out here.
Yeah, because we're still going to talk about and recovery, but we're also going to talk about the skills that you learn from recovery and how you can apply them to other areas of your life, right? Because being recovered doesn't just mean, oh, I don't look at anymore. I don't drink anymore. I don't smoke anymore. Whatever you're, trying to avoid.
Yeah.
The joke that I've cracked with Matt, I don't even know how many times, when I was going through the boot camp, I realized to really recover from, I had to become a better man.
Yes.
And honestly, it caught me off guard. I was like, Matt, dude, all I wanted was to get rid of porn in my life. I did not want to become a better person.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't read the fine print. But categorically, I have become a better version of myself over the past several years. Yeah. And can't stop, won't stop. Yeah. Now I'm on this path of growth, this path of recovery, where, just with my family, I'm more present. I'm more aware. I lead my family with more intention. My children, my wife. I have these tools that I can use not only for myself, but I can teach these same tools and skills to my children so they will be able to navigate the pain of life without reaching for an unhealthy coping mechanism.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really glad you spoke to that, Yeadon. The journey, we so often we'll have a group, a community call, and we won't even talk about. we'll talk about everything else. We'll talk about family. We'll talk about health. We'll talk about, business. We'll talk about spirituality. It's because, is just, as Yeadon spoke, is just the symptom on the surface. The real work comes through everything else we're doing here as a community. The emotional work, the spiritual work, the work with the mind, the work with the body, the work around physical fitness. So I'm glad you spoke to that. We'll be speaking to the full spectrum of what it means to be a happy, healthy, successful, prosperous, connected, well-regulated father.
Yeah. I can't wait to be that guy.
Me too.
One day.
Me too. So, brothers, thanks for tuning in here today. We're honored to have you. If you're here with us still, we're honored to have you along here on this journey with us, this new iteration of the purpose community moving and evolving into the recovered dad community. We're still very much moving from to purpose, and we're honored to have you along with us on this journey, on this ride. If you haven't already, we want to invite you to head on over to therecovereddad.com. Yeadon, that is correct. It's therecovereddad.com.
Yep, therecovereddad.com.
Right. Learn more about the community, learn more about Yeadon and myself, learn more about the new and improved Liberation Boot Camp, our 90-day sprint to freedom from addiction, the same program Yeadon went through. We'd love to connect with you. We'd love to have a conversation with you and support you wherever you may find yourself in the journey.
So you can start your journey of recovery and become the dad. Here's what we're talking about. Real talk, guys. I have become the dad that I needed when I was growing up. And I love my dad. I love my father so much. But my dad found his own recovery journey, his own growth journey just a few years ago. And my dad is 76, and my dad has just now started to dig into doing this work, understanding what makes him tick, handling his emotions with strength and grace instead of just exploding. This is your opportunity to become the dad that you desperately wanted growing up. Become the dad that your children need.
Amen. Beautiful.
And we'll see you on the next episode.
Brothers, thanks so much for being here. Wherever you are in the world, peace. Power.
Power.
Noble men.